So, Big Josh Boy, we are obviously recording this week's episode on a different day. If anybody
That's right.
noticed, you're listening to this, you're like, oh my God, the question tweet didn't go out on the right day.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah, I did that on purpose. I wasn't
Oh.
accidentally stupid like I normally am. I meant to do it this time because we have a new provisional date in which we are recording episodes. We're going to be recording them on Mondays at like 5:30 MST, because that's like my shit, because I don't want to have to do it to Big Josh
time.
Boy's time. It's gonna be like, oh, it's 7:30. oh shit, dude. I'll
time
just
for
go
dinner.
fuck myself, you know.
Yeah,
Time for
that's right.
dinner, dude. I eat at like 10 o'clock, and that's why I'm a chunky boy.
Real bad for your system. Yeah,
That's what
It's
I've
way too
heard.
late.
But here's the thing. I don't gain any more weight doing it than I did before. So I think it's all bullshit. Like, everybody's got these dumbass health tips. There's, oh, if you eat it this time of day, oh, you do. Just shut the fuck up. It's never changed anything. Like, I brush my fucking teeth. It doesn't matter. It's dumb. But how you feeling with the new recording date, Big Josh Boy? You had a full weekend. Did you do
feeling
anything
good.
fun? Did you play out in the sun?
I was in the sun all day, every day for the entire
Oh.
weekend. I was just
Nice.
living the dream, man. I was out there. It was nice, you know.
All
I
right.
got my full weekend, and now we're here. We're starting the work week, but with IndiePod. It's good, you know. It's like a little. It's like, you know, when you wake up and you're like, oh, fucking Mondays, but now it's like, fucking Mondays.
Fucking
you know?
Mondays.
Got IndiePod, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, fuck, I gotta go to work. And then after I'm done with work, I'm like, oh, fucking Interpod, dude. This is good,
man.
dude. It honestly, it totally threw me off though, because I've been the whole weekend having like this lingering sense of dread where I'm like, I'm not doing something.
I'm missing something.
Yeah. I forgot to do something, and then just realizing that it's just that my normal routine of putting the doc together on Saturday night is now on Sunday night, and it's just like it totally threw me off. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now, bro?
What is
What is
that?
happening?
Why do I have this time? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, but I'm liking it so far. It's interesting.
right,
It's kind
here we go.
of it's shaking things up, bro. I'm
Ooh.
feeling it.
Whew. Oh man, whole different
You know, Big
vibes here
Josh,
on
man.
IndiePod.
Speaking of, dude. Let's pop back to one of the age-old topics on these episodes, at least before
we gonna talk about
really
poop
get
again?
into everything. No, we're not.
Why do
Just
we always
don't-
got to do this?
Don't you worry. I'm not even going to talk about it. You're the one who brought it up. No, I want to talk to you about home maintenance once again.
Oh
So,
yes, I
like-
love this topic.
3 or 4 of our floodlight bulbs went out in our kitchen just literally at the same time. Blew my fucking mind. I was like, what is up with this? The only one that didn't was a different kind of light bulb. So I'm almost 100% sure that the previous owners only replaced one light bulb.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's
Checks out.
whatever. Like, why spend the money when you don't need to? That's fine. Whatever. So I head over. I'm like, I'm gonna go get me some light bulbs from Home Depot, dude. I'm gonna get me some fucking light bulbs. So of course I went to Lowe's instead because I forgot, ain't got no Home Depot over here. But I went to Lowe's, and not that it doesn't exist in Idaho. I just forgot that I actually went to Lowe's when I said Home Depot. So I was like, fuck me. I went to Lowe's. So I go into Lowe's and I'm walking around. I'm also looking for like door stops, but not. So like not the like little springs. I basically just wanted the ones that are like, man, if you whack the wall with this, it's not going to damage my wall. That's what I was looking for. Just the like plastic little shields. So I found one of those. Every other one was tan. I found one white one that I wanted. Every other one was like a gross like mustard yellow tan. I was like, you can go fuck yourself. I ain't gonna buy those. But I walk over to this guy and I was like, hey, could you possibly help me find a light bulb, a specific light bulb? And the guy turns to me, and he was just on this computer for 5 minutes, and turns to me and he goes, I just clocked off, and then just walked away. And I was like, what?
That's great.
What? He didn't even offer to like find somebody to help me. He just
He's
straight
done.
up looked me dead in the face and was like, I just clocked off. And I was like,
It's like, you're gonna have to
Okay.
find someone else. Because this
okay.
is
And
not,
then
this is
here's the
not my
fucking
job.
thing. I go over to some random other dude and I was like, hey, You look like you're still clocked on. Can you help me find a light bulb? And he was like, yeah, totally. And we walk over. And if you don't know what a floodlight is, it's a completely different kind of light bulb than your normal bulb. Like, you know, the whole like idea, oh, it's like pops, it's like a little rounded bulb. That's not a floodlight bulb. It's an entirely different bulb. This bitch ass walks me over to the fucking normal bulbs. And I was like, what? I had the light bulb in my hand and I was like, how's this bitch not understand that this is entirely different? And he was like, I was like, I need like a floodlight bulb. And he was like, oh, okay. We'll walk over. And before we get there, he stops like midway through the aisle and he goes, do you want a smart light bulb? And I was like, no. I don't. I don't want a smart light bulb. I just want a fucking floodlight bulb in daylight, bro. That's
Like,
all
sure,
I want. And you know what the most
want a smart light bulb though,
dude?
Like,
I don't know if this guy's making commission or some shit off smart light bulbs, but yeah, he's giving me the hard sell on fucking smart light bulbs. So
are you sure?
we continue on to the floodlight bulbs, and this guy isn't even the one who helped me. It was because he was completely oblivious as to what a floodlight bulb was, apparently. Instead, a random ass person in the aisle, doesn't even work there, helped me find the correct light bulb. And she was like the nicest lady. She was like, oh yeah. And I found this a little bit odd where she was like, oh yeah, girls care about these things, these kinds of things. I would know. And I was just like, I mean, I also care about the light bulb, but okay, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you don't care enough because you didn't know.
Right, dude? At least I knew that there's a fucking difference between normal light bulbs and floodlight bulbs. So there you go.
That's a pretty low bar to set, though.
Yeah, it's like this one looks like a beaker, like a vial. You know what I mean? And a normal light bulb looks like a light bulb. Big difference. Thank you. Yeah, just feel free to applaud me. That's nice of you.
Anytime you define something with the own object itself, fucking 10 out of 10.
I don't know a single person on Earth right now, other than like it's very possible that there are those tribes that live secluded in like the Amazon rainforest and stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. But they're pretty much like I'm very confident that I can say 95% of the Earth's population knows what a fucking light bulb looks like. So I think I can compare that shit to a light bulb and people understand what I'm fucking saying. But a floodlight bulb, apparently, that's too specific. So,
I mean, it's clearly just a light bulb that turns on whenever you have a flood in your house. Like
easy,
alarm,
dude.
You know?
I live in Idaho. I'm like, I'm not worried about floods, but you know,
in Florida, we got them all the time. You know what I'm saying? I know all about.
You're like my house, literally all my walls, floodlight bulbs.
Floodlights.
Right there. That's not even a wall. That's not drywall. It's floodlight bulbs. Right there.
They're just going off right now. It's flooding outside. I don't know.
That's why like your shit changes a little bit every now and then. It's just like it's flooding, dude.
It's flooding.
My house is flooded. I'm standing in 6 feet of water. You just can't see it.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but it was like obnoxious. Plus, they didn't have like a pack of 6. They just had 2 packs. So I had to buy 3 2-packs of these light bulbs. And then it turned out we only needed 5. So I just have an extra light bulb, which I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's fine. But dude,
it'll burn out eventually.
My kitchen's bright as fuck. Okay. It's super bright. My wife, when she was like, make sure you get it in daylight, and I was like, oh, is that like a specific type of brightness and everything? She's like, yeah, it's a white light. It's very bright. It looks like daylight. And I was like, well, you fucking got me there, you know? Okay. And the second I turned them all in, I turned it on, I was like, that was the most apt description anybody's ever given me of a product. Almost as good as a light bulb. Looks like a fucking light bulb. Okay.
Almost as good.
One last thing I want to just point out real quick to everybody. This is depending on if I kept the little bit beforehand in. Big Josh boy wearing that dope ass Indie Pod sweatshirt. Okay. He's looking dapper as hell. He's looking good. And I'm legitimately surprised that the purple works so well. I think because of like the white outline still looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. That was one of the things when you were like, oh, it might wash out, but I feel like the white line really it helps.
It definitely helps.
It's still nice and doesn't like clash too much. Plus, it's purple, which is great. Great
Yeah,
color.
did you see
10 out of 10.
Zach posted the picture of
I know.
theirs?
I was like, holy shit, that's what Zach looks like.
Dude, you know what? I just got to say something real quick. Zach, I know you're listening to this. You a cute boy. You're a cutie, okay? What's up, dude? What's up? That kiss on the mouth might come a little bit sooner than you think.
What have we talked about?
That hypothetical kiss on the mouth is a little bit sooner. You know what I mean? Hello and welcome to IndiePod, an indie games podcast, your weekly source for all the indie games news you need to know. This week, we're bringing you 2 awesome indie game news stories before, of course, hopping in to new stuff. God bless the crowd. We do not have any audience questions this week. I'm 95% sure that that's due to us changing the date of posting questions and such.
Or people finally realize they hate us.
Yeah, and they're just getting sick of it.
They're like, you know what? I don't give a fuck what they think. What am I asking them questions for?
Yeah, it feels like they always just take my fucking questions out of context anyway, or
It's
just
true.
don't answer them. So why even write questions? And I'm like,
you know what we need? We need to have like a live listener questions episode where we do like, that should be like our 200. We'll have to actually get people who are interested in this, but have them come on. And then when we make up some stupid rule of like, this is what we interpret, they'd be like, no, stop that shit. Like, answer my question.
In what world did I mean that? You know, I feel like that's often enough what happens. Any feedback we get on questions is generally just, how did you get to that point with this question? That's not what I meant at all.
And I feel like even with that intention of like, well, that way we would be able to help, I feel like it would just end up being a show where you and I just gaslight the person.
Checks
like,
out.
No, that's clearly what it meant.
Yeah, that definitely, we're just like, how are you not seeing this? Your question obviously meant this. Do I need to check you into an insane asylum, Wombat Emperor? Are you having some problems? Okay. What's up, bro?
Maybe.
There you go. There you go. Of course, before we get into any of that, I would like to introduce myself, Vaughn, alongside my illustrious co-host, the biggest of average Josh boys. How you doing today, big Josh boy? My big Josh boy this week, a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit more, I would say, orgasmic, which I personally appreciate. How you feeling about it, big Josh boy?
I like it. Every time I always do a little bit of a shake, you know? I like the that you have in your voice whenever you do it. It's nice. It really rings in.
You can feel it in your bones. You're
I
like,
can feel it. Yeah. I'm like, it's rising me. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
A little bit of that.
I'm glad to give you a rise, big Josh. What's up, dude?
It is it's a good thing this camera only stops it here, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not even wearing pants right now.
I just got
Donald Duck in this bitch.
Dude, there's nothing on under here. No, I'm doing well. I am ready to do this. I'm sad we don't have any questions, but you know what? At least at the end of this episode, then I won't say this was a long one.
That's good. That's good.
Unless we just fuck around for way too long, which is also possibly true because it's pretty far into this
16
episode. We have
minutes
not
into
talked
this
about
episode?
anything, literally.
So, housekeeping before we get into what we've been playing, please check out our developer interview going live this Wednesday, which is, of course, Wednesday, the 17th of November. Naturally, each and every Wednesday, we have some awesome developer interviews going up. We've had some great ones in the past, and this week, it is with Kid Onion Studio. I'm like, you know, just fucking gibberish. It's good
No
stuff.
idea what's happening, but let's do it.
I'm legitimately having a stroke. This is with Kid Onion Studio, the developers of River Tales Stronger Together. That's an interesting name. That's an interesting one.
It's a good game if you're looking for something co-op. Get to be either a cat or a fish. Get to help each other out. Make sure you can travel through and get to the end, because I think it was something like someone's taken over the forest or something, some bad guy, cat and fish.
Naturally,
it's like, you know, the uncommon team that have to get together and fight the evil baddie. Like, it's basically that, but it's kind of cool. You're as a cat, you're jumping around, and if you fall in the water, you're like, fuck, I'm a cat, I'm gonna die, and then the fish is like, all right, I'll flip you back out. Likewise, if the fish falls on land, then you gotta smack him out. It's great.
Just the age-old tale of the cat and fish being best friends, you know? It's just...
Yeah. Tom and Jerry was...
good stuff, dude.
They just missed the mark, you know? Should have been.
Yeah, they're
been
very
close.
close.
Very
yeah,
close,
especially on land. It's like, what else lives in your walls mackerel, you know, like goldfish, koi, you know. It's just like every time I walk through my kitchen, I like see a little bit of pellets and I'm like, man, dude, fucking Goldie's up in here just shitting all over my kitchen. What's up with that, bro?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yeah.
Don't worry about it. You don't need to know. So if you're in your browser, head over to Teespring, find that IndiePod store. It should be easy enough to find. I'm going to be completely honest. You should just be able to look up IndiePod over on Teespring, find the store. We now have sweatshirts in a variety of different colors. You see the big Josh boy in it. If you're in our Discord, you could see Zach's cute face and this sweet ass pink sweatshirt, you know? What's up, Zach? And of course, you could check out the t-shirt, stickers, anything like that over on the IndiePod store. Head over to YouTube, give us, I guess, a subscribe. I don't really know how that happens. Like the videos. This should be one of them. And dude, I don't fucking know. Click the bell icon because that's what people say.
Yeah, slap that bell. Slap it. Fucking smack it around.
Beat the shit out of that bell,
Beat
bro.
the shit out of our bell. You know?
Leave us reviews on any site in which you could do so. Specifically, iTunes helps us out a bunch. If you are on a Windows PC, just download the iTunes app from the Windows Store and it should be right there. Of course, you have to like create an account, but it is fairly easy to do so. And lastly, thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons at the $3 tier or higher. If you give us any amount of money or any amount of your time, you are absolutely amazing. And in another dimension, you know what I mean? I'm going to throw out the hypothetical. Y'all going to get a kiss on the mouth. But like, hey, I'm not saying that's going to happen in real life. Other than to Zach. But like, you know what I mean? It's just whatever. So thank you so much. I didn't say nothing. Thank you so much to Ethan, a gamer for fun. John, it's just John, dude. It's odd, you know? That's his own. That's his only name. He doesn't have a surname. Doesn't have
yeah.
It's
like Cher.
Yeah, exactly. Or Prince. You know,
or Prince. Yeah,
those are their legal names. So there you go.
Yeah.
We'll see. Zach Durham. What's up, Zach? Chase Hopkins, Philip Redshaw, the Wombat Emperor of Australia. Once again, they have failed to like let me know or anything, but I'm just gonna say Juno, just to be completely sure. I'm fairly certain that's what they wish to be called. So I'm going to go with that until they update it, or at least I'm going to try to err on the side of caution with that. There you go.
Makes sense.
And Sam Fillion from Canada, thank you all so much. You are also amazing. And Big Josh Boy, tell me about Dicey Dungeons by Terry Cavanagh. I believe this isn't the first time you've played this, right? You've played it in the past.
Nope.
Really?
Never played it.
I know we've seen it before. Maybe I was just like being weird about it. I totally thought you'd played this before.
Maybe a demo, but never like the real thing. But it's always
maybe
been
a demo where we just talked about it like in a news story or something. And I was like, man, Big Josh Boy's gonna play this fucking game.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's up my alley for sure. I mean, it's a roguelite. There's a lot of RNG, to a degree, almost too much. But I love the art style to it because it's very cartoony. The idea behind this is you are normal people who keep getting trapped inside this weird world, this dicey dungeon world, where you are at the mercy of a woman named Lady Luck, who is throwing you into basically this never-ending, what they refer to them as episodes. They kind of like make it seem like you're on a game show, and the game show's like main point is for you to kill people, which is strange. But
my favorite kind of game show, dude.
I know.
Price is Right. Dude. Bob Barker just chilling there, gangsta style. He's like, fucking get it wrong, and you're gonna get the gat.
It's
best show I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's how it works. Basically, that's exactly it. But with dice, that's the game. So you get turned into dice. You like the first person you play as the tutorial thing is you are the warrior. And so you are this little die with a sword. The next one is a thief. You got little daggers. The next one is, I believe, was the robot. You're a
fucking nerd. You have glasses and
That's
hammer.
The inventor, you jerk. Each of them, so there's 6 characters. I've only unlocked 5 of them at this point because I don't know exactly how to unlock the 6th one yet, because most of the things that you have to unlock or things that you're trying to achieve will give you like a little like play 5 people or do this X amount of times. But this one just has question marks. So I'm like, I'll figure it out as I play through. But the way it works is you start out with each character. Like each time you beat the game with one of them, or even just play with one of them, you'll unlock another one until you get to that 5 cap. And they're actually really cool. Each one has their own unique ability, their own unique set that they'll start with. As far as like the warrior is pretty basic, where you have an ability that lets you attack twice, which is like your special limit break bar. But then you get these other ones that are more intricate, like the inventor has gadgets. And so the equipment, which is what's called for your abilities, like each game is a roguelite where you're starting out and you have nothing and then you're gaining things and gaining new abilities each time, right? Well, these abilities are essentially like, it's kind of intricate actually. There's like a lot of things going on here. Each of these abilities that you have will either be you need an even number, or you need an odd number, or you need a certain amount based on the dice that you're rolling. And you have like either 2 dice that you start with, and then every time you level up, you get like an extra die that you'll be able to play with. And so it becomes this game of chance where you have RNG because you don't know what dice you're going to roll. But then you also have the abilities that you're kind of choosing for based on your class. So like if I have a warrior, I generally want to go for things that are going to do high damage and usually just allow me to have a higher chance to do them again because I have that fury move. But then you have specific classes like the thief, who their special ability is when they take a certain amount of damage, they can use it to get a number of extra just 1 dies. So it's like 3 extra 1 equal die. And so you'll have this attack generally with the thief where it's like you can always use a number die and just put it in at a minimum of 3, and it will do that amount of damage to someone. And so you upgrade it eventually and get it so it will add an extra 1 damage with each die. So you would get those extra damage. It would turn to 6 damage, yada, yada, yada. Basically, it's a lot that goes into this, but it's each one of those classes has a different ability. And then as you're playing, once you beat the game once with them, it changes from very similar style of like each character does the same thing of going through a number of floors and getting to a boss, where now they have these episodes where it's like a specialty trait. So like with the thief, you had that interesting perk where you would get the number 1 die a couple of times as like your special. But then the third episode that he has is like every turn you get a different number. And it's always like the first turn you play, it's always going to be 1. The second turn you play, every die is going to be 2. The third turn, likewise, and it keeps going like that. And there's like ways to change it, but then you have to build a whole deck or equipment build based on the fact that you're constantly going through those numbers. So there's a lot of unique mechanics that go into it. The idea is very roguelite, where it's like you have 5 floors, you go through, you kill some enemies that are on the floor. There's different shops, there's different places for health, there's different places for more abilities that you can use. And you just keep learning new characters and enemy types and going through. It's random, like who you're going to get. But for the most part, you see a lot of the same type of enemies popping up. But where it becomes really fun is just these different episodes where you have these unique scenarios or these unique rules that come into play. And honestly, at first I was like, oh man, the RNG kind of makes it hard. But like these new special rules are kind of challenging to a point where I was like, fuck, I don't know how far I'm going to make it into these, because there's just like so much shit that's going on in it. Fucking alarm, bro. Ding, 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 ding. Excuse me. Anyway, it's really fucking good. Like, I think that I probably won't make it much farther into it. Like, it's going to be a side game where I keep going back and forth to it. I would have liked playing it a bit more if I was able to jump back and forth between my PC and my Xbox. But like, I had a very strange, and this might be good for some people who are interested in this as well. I had a lot of issues with my cloud save back and forth, where like it wouldn't register properly on the PC, and then on the Xbox it had to start a new one. And then because of that, it like crashed my PC version and I could never get it to work again. So I had to just uninstall it and just start back up on my Xbox. So I don't know what that was about, but like, I feel like since it's only going to be whenever I'm on my Xbox, it'll be a much slower playthrough. But some of the challenges are quite fun. It can feel a little samey, but I also think it's because I've blown through like 7+ hours of it, just like, and that's the only game I've been playing. But as something where I'll just pick it up and be like every so often, see if I can defeat one of these challenges, then yeah, I think it's a really good game. I am playing this on Game Pass, by the way, so it's there. I would definitely recommend it if you have it to just check it out. But I think it's also worth it because now I see it go on sale all the time on Steam anyway. If you're looking to pick up Dicey Dungeons, I would say just wait for a sale, or even if you think like this would really be for you, I've already sunk in a good amount of time to it. So it's definitely one to check out. The RNG can feel really shitty sometimes though when you're fighting enemies, because sometimes it feels like they just get all the right rolls. But apparently it's not fixed and people have like looked into it from like a source code perspective, but I don't know, it just feels like it. All right.
So you talking about like the price and sales, one thing is it's only $14.99 actually. I say only, which is like that is coming from a privileged position where I do have some extra income where I can put it into games, but $14.99 is a lower price point than we normally see for indie games. So
yeah, for sure.
There you go. Plus it's on Game Pass. Seems pretty interesting. One thing I did want to ask you about, you being I think around the world, this was actually voted on, Big Josh Boy being the king of the roguelike. I do have to ask you, is it not like a mark of a good roguelike where you can actually play 7 hours of it and not feel stale and samey? When I think about like you talking about The Binding of Isaac, you've sunk countless amounts of hours into that game, and I don't think you've ever said samey about it. Like, granted, it's probably hard to measure up to Binding of Isaac, but like even putting that against something like a Dead Cells or possibly even like Neon Abyss, I don't know how much you put into that, but like it seems like often enough with roguelites, or you were talking about Inscription quite a lot. Often enough with them, I don't hear you say samey. Like that's not something that you normally bring up, is that you're feeling like the same encounters and such are happening, or the same variables are happening, which is especially weird about this game because it seems like both in concept and just its actual game design are based on random chance. And this is like the one game that you said sounds samey.
Yeah,
or plays samey.
So the reason why I say that, and I'll go a little bit into that, is when roguelikes, their main, like roguelikes, roguelite, their main idea is things like procedural generation, right? And randomness when it comes to the types of enemies you'll see or the types of rooms that you'll see. And there is some degree to that, but a lot of what Dicey Dungeons has is an overworld and then goes straight into a battle. And the overworld is literally just like a few dots and like random zigzag lines that go to it, which isn't like, it's not the same as like a procedurally generated room or type of map. Like it doesn't feel as different. Like you're always going to get the same looking type map. You're always going to get the same starter and kind of like mid-tier monsters that show up. And although they are different sometimes, I feel like there's still a good amount of them there, and it almost plays into the fact that it needs to, because otherwise it would be harder to understand like the types of builds that you want to create and how to fight enemies, because each one of them will feel very unique in their own right. Like they'll say that they're, weak to a specific type of damage, or they'll play into a type of move set that would be detrimental to another build. So like you have these elements, things like shock, things like weaken, things like fire, things like frozen. Those elements are all going to play into how either you want to screw up an enemy's deck or how they might screw you over. But the thing is, depending on who you're fighting, and this means like I'll go into Frozen as an example. Freezing someone's their dice is going to make it so the highest number dice that they roll will turn into a 1. So freezing a dice will turn it to a 1. And that's a great move, like to have a deck that, or I say deck because it's like cards, but it's not. It's just like a square area. It's really equipment is what they call it. But basically, if you're going for that type of thing, if they have, let's say, 4 dice and I freeze all of them, they're all going to be 4 or all going to be 1s. Generally, it's hard to do that. You'll usually freeze like 1 or 2 in a turn. But the reason why that's great is because, yeah, they only do 1. And like most things want a 6 because they'll have a higher amount of damage or XYZ. But there are some enemies that like all of their attacks are just based on, is this dice an even or an odd number? It doesn't matter the like, is it a 6 to get a higher amount of damage? It just needs to be even, and then it will do a fixed amount of damage, right? So there are enemies where I've done that and I'm like, I've got a freeze deck. Haha, fuck you. Everything is 1s. And it's like, well, I just needed 3 odd numbered dice anyway. And it's like, so haha, it doesn't matter. So like, I can't screw them over. So there's things like that where, those enemies repeat, and it's a repeatability where you're then learning and understanding, okay, when I fight this enemy, I don't want to have something like that. So maybe I switch out my equipment, or maybe I, do it in a different way where I don't rely as much on that. Okay. But the reason why it's samey is just because I think that the game plays less into the enemies being different and more into the characters themselves are very unique in their style and their strategy to win the game, as well as those episodes all have a unique mechanic where the game is entirely different based on how you were playing in a previous episode. So like the enemies don't change up as much, but you as a character and your main scenario does.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Anybody who's wondering about the samey controversy of Dicey Dungeons, there you go. There you go. Yeah. You got your answer. For me, this week, I've also been playing a roguelite. I just been playing some more Moonlighter, of course, by Digital Sun Games. Just Digital Sun, I think, technically. Just fucking around, trying to make some money in the tech dungeon. I have yet to get out of it, mostly because, like, the tech dungeon is a little weird. I would say it's normally by the time I get all of my equipment for that for said dungeon, whether it's like the desert dungeon or the forest dungeon, or I forget what the first one is called. I feel like it's just called the Golem, but whatever. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's the Golem dungeon, but I really don't know. It's like the first dungeon. But normally you would get your equipment made out of different materials within that dungeon and then upgrade it, and you're basically like good to go. With a couple of different potions, you can fuck shit up the whole way through. Mm-hmm. But the tech dungeon is actually a lot harder. I'm legitimately surprised. It's not like the most ridiculous scale and power. It's not like you go from the desert dungeon to the tech dungeon. It's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. It's power unknown to man. No, it's just things have more like variability with their attacks. You often get like in other dungeons, you get, or the desert dungeon specifically, there are these kind of like obelisk looking creatures that open up and they will spit a like magma on the ground to create an environmental hazard. There's a similar creature or like enemy within the tech dungeon that basically just throws lightning at you wherever you are for a short portion of time. And it's very weird. So it doesn't linger there like this magma shot does, but it hits you way harder and it tracks where you are. So if you hold still while it goes to shoot, you will die. I'm not saying that it'll like follow you once it does start shooting, but it tracks you way better than the magma shot does. The guys go to shoot and all I have to do is roll and I'm out of the way. This one is like I roll and it's like, nah, bitch, I fucking see you. Okay, dude, fucking chill. Plus the bosses are a little bit different and weird. I feel like I almost need to upgrade a bow. Because I use the sword and shield and I use the brawler gauntlets or just the gloves. I don't know exactly what to call them, but I use both of them and they're both melee weapons, but they offer no distance. And there are times where like the bosses in the tech dungeon, or at least the first boss, the second boss has, I believe like maybe 3, but the first boss in the tech dungeon has 2 attacks. They will shoot lightning in different directions where it's like, okay, they're going to shoot lightning vertically and then they'll just travel up and down it. So you have to go up and down this little piece. The first part is really easy. The second attack that they do is just hit the ground with lightning that goes out, basically like in a bullet hell game, how you just have lines of bullets. Very similar, but it's just a line of lightning that you can roll over, or you could just go around the edge of it. It's super easy, but there are times where I will be hitting it with either my sword and shield or my gloves, just like punching the shit out of this fucking globe of lightning, where it hurts me for no reason. Like, it's not attacking me. I just get hurt. And I'm like, what is that all about? So I feel like I might need to either invest in something like the bow or possibly the spear to give me a little bit of distance from this enemy so it can't hit me as much, because it typically does end up going through my, at this point, I have like I think it's 3 like defense shields where it's like I can get hit 3 times before actually taking damage to my armor. And my armor is at like 200. So they have to do 200 damage to then get to my health. But I can't regain any of those things. So once those are gone and are a certain run, they're just gone. Whereas health, you can always regain it. There's literally like a pool right before every boss fight that'll regain your health. Pretty nice and easy. But it is just like, it's a little bit weird. I'm enjoying it though. I have found several items. Like, one complaint I had about the tech dungeon is that I felt like they were selling, like they were cheaper than the stuff in the desert dungeon. But I have found a couple of items that I can get relatively often within the tech dungeon that make me a decent amount of money. So I'm pretty okay with it. Plus, I'm at the like last tier of items, so I don't really need to spend money on anything now. Like the shop side of it is almost unnecessary outside of my like money needed for potions. So that's about it. At this point, I just need to clear out the tech dungeon, and then I'll have the last key to open up the final gate, which I believe should just be a boss fight. Mainly because there doesn't seem to be like journal entries or weapons for that specific gate. I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping that it's just a boss fight, honestly. But if it was a whole like 3-stage dungeon, I wouldn't hate it. But I don't really know. Like, it seems interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. But
do you say that because you're like, you want it to be over? Like, has the game kind of reached that point where you're like, I've got the experience that I wanted from it?
Yes, for the most part, yeah. Like, however much I love Moonlighter, I have now realized after beating 4 dungeons is that it can get repetitive, where it's like I go in, I kill a bunch of stuff, I upgrade my weapons, I sell shit, I just do it over and over and over again. It doesn't change a lot versus like now that I'm in the tech, I feel like this is the biggest amount of variety is from the enemies within these different dungeons. That's where like a lot of what are like the repeatability, that continued gameplay would come from, is like each dungeon has different enemies, but I don't revisit these old dungeons. There's no reason to at this point. Like they don't give me items that I can use to make better gear. Instead, it's like that gear has been left behind. And if I did need those items, I can literally just buy them from another vendor. He sells them at like an upcharge, but I can just buy them from him. And since I have so much money, dude, I don't even fucking need to worry about it. So it's a little bit weird, and it can get a little bit tedious, but yeah, kind of at this point, I'm hoping that after I beat the tech dungeon, there is just the one, and like there's just a boss fight. Not necessarily like get it over with or anything, just because I don't know if I'm really into doing a whole nother like, okay, now I gotta, the grind of another dungeon entirely. So yeah, but I still love Moonlighter. I still think it's a lot of fun. Still plan on finishing it by the end of the year. Of course, as you fucking saw on Twitter, possibly, I'm playing that age-old indie game, Skyrim again, you know? Just enjoying it. Bought the anniversary edition update. It was like $20 since I already had the special edition. Some fun stuff. I got a backpack now. It's cool.
Stop giving them money for this damn game. Do you know how old this game is?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Get out of here.
I have realized like recently though, I'm like, man, the dual casting, like the slotting of spells on your hands bothers me so much with this game, where it's like, dude, I loved it so much in Oblivion where it was just on a bumper button and I could do it. Now I have to like, you don't get to block anymore. If you're a melee, like you're a spell sword or anything, you can just go fuck yourself. Have fun. It's annoying, but not going to talk about Skyrim anymore. You know, it's just like, it's a little known indie game. I haven't talked about it since like, I don't know, the start of Indie Pod. So it's okay. Whatever. On to our first news story for today. This one's over on IGN. It's written by Joe Scrabbles, and it is Thunderful World. Everything announced, including a 3D SteamWorld game. So I do want to just go through all of the things that are announced really quick, and then we can talk about the big standout titles, of course. We all know what Big Josh Boy's into. He's fucking into that SteamWorld Headhunter.
Excuse me?
We know.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
Fucking here.
Maybe I want to get down with the gunk, you know? Maybe I'm a gunky boy. You ever thought about that?
Why are you lying? Well, who are you trying to lie to right now, bro? We know it's a fucking SteamWorld. We fucking know you. We had 160 episodes so far. Big Josh boy. He's telling me he's not excited for SteamWorld fucking Headhunters. Can't believe him. So
it's co-op.
We have this. We have SteamWorld Headhunter is the next installment in the cult SteamWorld series and the first to move from 2D to 3D. Headhunter is a stylized and colorful third-person co-op adventure or action-adventure game. They didn't have any gameplay, and I don't believe they actually have any sort of release window at all, but it does look kind of interesting. Then we actually do get a release date for the Gunk, which I talk about in God Bless the Crowd as well, but it is coming to Xbox and PC on December 16th. Then Wavetail was revealed, and it had a surprise launch for Stadia. I don't fucking... Okay, it's out on Google Stadia. Honestly, I'm not super into it. PC and console releases outside of Stadia are going to be held off until 2022 for that one. Now, there is a new 3D platformer. It's called Togs? I think it's supposed to be Togs.
Yeah, I don't think Toges is right.
Yeah, Togs is definitely correct. That's the name that they were shooting for. Now, it's kind of like Togs. It's Togges. You play as like this... Let's be honest, you look like a fucking Roomba. Like you look like a Roomba,
kinda.
And you're shitting out blocks everywhere you go. It looks weird. That one apparently is coming in 2022 to PC and consoles. Then there's Obscene. They have a Obscene platformer Hellpie announced. Sadly, IGN doesn't have a video for this one, so I didn't really get to see anything from it, but it is coming to PC and console in 2022. Then they have Swordship revealed, which looks odd, but it is coming to PC and consoles in 2022. Motorbike Metroidvania Laika Aged Through Blood was also announced. It's coming to PC and consoles in 2022. I did actually look this one up because they said Metroidvania, and I was like, what's up? It looks like a weird twist to the Metroidvania genre where they add like almost Trials-esque like dirt bike shit. It's very weird. The whole time you're riding a dirt bike, but you have a gun and you're just like shooting shit. It looks weird. And it's in like a Mad Max-esque world. It looks interesting. I would check it out. Like it looks weird. Then an announcement for Super Meat Boy Forever coming to mobile, which is hilarious because it's basically just an auto runner. It's like this was a mobile game just on consoles before.
Like this was meant to be for mobile anyway.
Yes, it's like, oh, great, you finally released it on the favored platform. Good for you. Then there's Surreal FPS Industria is coming to consoles, specifically PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S in 2022. White Shadows got a release date, which is December 7th. For PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Fire Girl got a release date announcement, which is for PC on December 14th, with a console release to follow in 2022. And lastly, I guess technically there's another one, but Cursed to Golf got a gameplay overview, and they say new looks at upcoming and early access games, specifically 3D point and click adventure, Crowns and Pawns, multiplayer adventure sandbox, Tinkertown, and action roguelike Source of Madness all got updates, but they don't really have anything talking about that on IGN outside of like that quick blurb. So, Big Josh boy, since we've all been on the edge of our seats to know, what you found interesting about Thunderful World, tell me about Steam World Headhunter.
Oh, it seems great, dude. Here's the thing. We talked at length in previous episodes, which now feels like forever ago, where we were like, SteamWorld, what are they going to do next? It could be anything. Who thought it would be this?
Who thought it would be 3D?
Who thought it would be?
Which is hilarious because Image and Form is making the gunk, so it's like, why wouldn't it be 3D?
Why wouldn't they? Yeah. I mean, granted, it seems weird because it's like, one of the cool things about SteamWorld was always the very like cartoony kind of look to it. Whereas with this, it feels more, obviously it's still cartoony and it's still kind of like goofy in its own right, but it still looks much more gritty and real, if you will.
Yeah.
In this trailer, I think the idea behind it is really cool because you seem to be this tiny little robot that's like just a head with tiny legs that can jump from one robot to another, I guess, which might be why they call it Headhunter. I don't know anything.
That's what I wasn't certain about. I'm pretty damn like Headhunter, and the thing was in the logo, but I was like, this is when you need gameplay.
yeah, for sure. We don't know shit about this game, but speculation from my side and from others, I would assume means that you are going to be jumping to other robots' bodies. Like maybe that's a big piece to this. I'm into it. Granted,
it's like Headlander, but with robots.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that this is going to be the genre that like gets me going. You know, it's not my.
It's not a card game like.
It's not a card game. It's not a platformer. But a co-op 3D adventure game of a SteamWorld type game. I'm into it. Like I don't. It's one of those things where we talked about it, where you have a specific either developer or publisher that you're gung-ho about and you just see a game from them and you're like, all right, I'm on board. And that's the SteamWorld series for me. Like, I don't think they could do any wrong from every game that I've played from SteamWorld has been great. I've never played the Tower Defense though, because I don't care about Tower Defense. But that being said, everything else has been great. And that was their first one anyway, you know. The first one's never good.
Yeah, it's their first attempt. You're like, that's just a flash game. We'll just leave it alone. It's fine.
It doesn't matter. Nobody remembers their first.
Honestly, the thing that Headhunter really, I guess, really made me excited about Headhunter was the fact that like it seems to be based within the SteamWorld Dig universe. I want to say showing that like, especially because they had like SteamWorld Dig 2 available for free on Steam like 24 hours after this, or like 24 hours after this. Really makes me believe that Image and Form is willing to go back to their former series and try out new gameplay genres within that, which I think is really interesting because like SteamWorld Heist could be really cool, trying to explore that in 3D, maybe the world of SteamWorld Quest.
Yeah. Well, even still, like even SteamWorld Quest was canonically technically a part of that world because it was like them reading a bedtime story was kind of how that worked for Quest in comparison to like the overall theme. So I don't think it's out of the question that they wouldn't do something like this. I don't know. It's a good point though. Like how hard are they going to tie in to the actual Dig as opposed to Quest, which was just kind of like a little side thing of like, it's those same characters, but it's just a made up story, right? Like, whereas this one could literally play into the full storyline or go into characters that we've already known from before. I don't know how hard they'll do that. It would be interesting to see. Honestly, I'm gonna burst your bubble a little bit. I'm still pretty upset that it's not Heist 2.
Really?
I want my Heist, dude. I loved Heist. I'm very upset that Heist 2 didn't come out, but it's okay. I'll be salty. They did say, though, that they're still working on a bunch of other SteamWorld games. Like, I'm pretty sure there's multiple titles that they're working on right now. So Heist 2, it's still there. I know it's still coming. It's not going to be as quick as I wanted it, but it's okay. I'll gladly play this game. And,
all right.
Yeah.
Are there any other titles within this that you were interested and you want to shout out before we move on to our next news story?
I think Industria looked weird but cool, but that's technically, it's already been out. And then the other one that I'm really excited for, well, actually two. One, White Shadows. I don't know shit about this game.
Looks
but
weird.
it looks like like an Inside or a Limbo type game, which I'm into. I'd like to see more. So I'm excited for that. And then of course, you got to go with Curse to Golf. Like,
of course, naturally. Why wouldn't
it's just
you?
a 2D platforming golf rogue. Isn't it a roguelite too? It's a fucking. Come on, put all the fucking words that I love into a game. Get it in here. Come on now. It's too good.
All right. Yeah. I also thought Industria looked really cool. It actually makes me want to like check it out on PC right now. And of course, like I said before, the Leica Aged Through Blood looks really, really interesting. I'd highly recommend checking out the Steam page on that one. Leica is spelled Laika, and it's just Aged Through Blood. Looks really interesting. I'm into it. It doesn't really have like a release date other than the release window of 2022, but like looks cool. It's looking cool. So Big Josh Boy, our next news story actually continues to be on IGN, but I believe this one's written by a different person. Gotta pull this shit up. It's taking me too long. It's written by Jared Moore. And this is Scorn director apologizes after hostile delay statement. So holy fucking shit. No, I'm not going to say this person's name. This is like, what?
Which one? Oh, yes. This is
the creative director's name.
I would go with their last name specifically and just stick to that.
Just say Peckler.
Yeah.
Or Peklar. Yeah, let's go with I'm going to go with Peklar. The creative director of Scorn has publicly apologized following a hostile update sent out about the game's delay. In an update to Kickstarter backers, the creative director and Ebb Software CEO apologized to fans and took full responsibility for the update being posted. I quickly and haphazardly read through the draft of the update and, in all my wisdom, approved it. Said Peklar. Reading through again, it was clear that the hostile tone it was written in should not be how we express ideas or plans to people that help us out, which I think is a weird way to talk about your Kickstarter like backers. Is just people who help you out, but like whatever. We may be tired, confused, and frustrated at our own ineptitude, but there is no reason to lash out at you. For that, I personally apologize. I will do my best for this kind of outburst not to happen again. So I checked out the original post a little bit. I would say it's much more passive aggressive than just outright hostile. They, at one point in time, they're just like, oh, what have we been doing since we showed our trailer last year? Making the game. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily hostile, but it's definitely passive aggressive.
I don't know. Did you read the full thing?
I read I guess I should say I skimmed it. What?
Okay.
Are you talking about the Cyberpunk 2077 shit where they're just like,
so look, there was a lot of it where this whole statement that they wrote, there's so many points that are very valid on their side. There talks about they don't want to overhype something, the fact that they don't want to spend all of their money on things like their marketing, where they want to focus right now on the game itself, the fact that they're not updating people as much because it also takes away time from them working on the game. But like, man, there is a way to say something and there is a way to really piss people off. Like the thing about this is I read, the whole, like he apologized and this is not the way we handle our blah, blah, blah. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You're doing a little bit of whatever. You read it real quick. Sure. After looking at it, I'm like, I don't know how you didn't very, very quickly understand that this is not the tone that you should be talking to people with. Like the very first paragraph, the first 2 sentences, you're like, whew, fucking salty. Like,
yeah, maybe
whoa.
we need to chill a bit.
Like take it down like a notch. It way too much. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. Like, they're not wrong. There are parts where they're like, we don't, like, what are we doing? We're working on the game. Like, games take time. Like, yes, very valid. But also, you are 100% right when you said the people that they're talking to with this are literally the people who gave them money before anyone else did. And it's like, yeah, there is the whole contract of, you know, if you go into a Kickstarter, you have to kind of understand that sometimes you'll get burnt because things take longer than anyone ever expects. It seems to always happen. But also,
but you also don't expect to get burnt by just being shit on in an update. Like, that's not the thing. You never think the way you're gonna get burnt is like, it's like, oh, they took my money and bolted. They didn't put out the game. It's never like they were just a huge dick in all of their updates or whatever. Yeah. Granted, like, it does seem like people have been, and this is just, I guess, for lack of a better term, pestering them since they did show, I believe, a trailer the last time they showed the game, which is in October. But they have said since then, and I believe since it was originally shown, the reason that this game has not seen, like, hasn't been released or anything is because they trashed 90% of it. They've redone 90% of what they already had because there was just a drastic change in direction for the game, which is really interesting. And like, that totally blows that happened. And I would like to see, like, if there's ever a no clip documentary about something, I want one about Scorn, where it's just like, I want to know what this game was meant to be like before you guys changed it so drastically. Very similar to their like Transistor documentary. I think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, like you said, they definitely probably, like, while proofreading this, I totally understand why the CEO is like, my bad, I was too quick to get this out. Turns out is pretty dickish. Which, like,
a little bit.
Did they write this post, or are they just apologizing for the person who wrote it? That's one thing that I wasn't 100% clear on this, because it says, I quickly and haphazardly read through the draft of the update and in all my wisdom approved it. So seemingly the CEO did not write it. Yeah, someone else did. They just didn't stop it before it was put out.
Yeah. Basically, they had the chance to be... The CEO had the chance to shut that shit down. Like,
there's so many, like, two filters. The person who wrote it was like, let's be a dick. It was like one of those people who, like, woke up and they chose violence. And then there was, like, the CEO who's just like, fuck them kids. It was just like, get it. It's very weird. Honestly, the game looks interesting. I am very interested in it outside of the body horror aspects of it. Like, just looking at it really creeps me out and makes me feel uncomfortable. But hey, hopefully they continue to, not be douchebags like they were before this. They do say, I personally apologize. I will do my best for this, like, kind of outburst to not happen again. I do find it hilarious that they do not guarantee that it won't happen again. They're just like, I'll do my best.
Yeah. It's really interesting too, because you go through like the lists of that original update and like all the comments, and there's just like a ton of them that are like, add me to the refund list, please. Refund list, please. Refund list, please. And each one of them, they're sticking to it. And the company is basically saying like, okay, check your Kickstarter inbox for details on refund. You're getting refunded. So they're sticking to their guns about the fact, or at least seemingly they are, about the fact that at the end they were like, if you want a refund, fucking just ask for it. Like, which, you're going to get two type of people, the people who are pissed off about this, because like, you are burning some of your closer fans who stuck with you at the very start. But then there's also some people in here who are like, good for you. You stick it to them, where you're like, all right, man, whatever. Like, if that's because, there is.
You're like, you realize you're also getting shit on, right? Like, they're like, yeah, but I'm a fan of it. It's like some people don't like being stepped on. I'm like, step on my balls. It's whatever. It's fun.
It's good. It's good. I mean, I get it to some degree, because like some people will look at that and not be like, yeah, who cares? And like understand the valid points that they are trying to say with like, but taking away the part of them just being a dick about it. So I get it, but also like, there's a better way to do this.
Yeah, there definitely is. They do bring up like some, like you said, they bring up some solid points where it's like, oh, the I guess comparison to themselves versus CD Projekt Red, where they were just like, yes, the reason that they only ever put out CG trailers for Cyberpunk was because they outsourced it, so they didn't have to work on those where they were developing the game, which is like also a very weird comparison, because it's like, yeah, but that game also ended up like having a lot of problems. Yeah. So what? And they bring that up as well, where it's like, oh, they want to make a good first impression. They want to make that quality product and not have to constantly update it over, like, basically the issues that Cyberpunk had. But yeah, I get it, but also you don't need to be a douche about it.
Yeah, and they're not wrong. Like, there is, like, one of the things they talked about in here was like the catch-22 of hype and building this platform of, you're starting at, you know, the bottom where you don't have much, and you have to hype up your game to get people to back you, whether it's from a Kickstarter or whether it's from a publishing company or someone to give you funding. Because, like, unless you're a bigger company, you're not going to have that money, right? And even in the cases of having that money, you still have to create some kind of hype, because you have to at least internally build that kind of, you know, storyboarding of like what the game is and what it looks like and yada, yada, yada. But for most companies, you don't have that, especially if you're in the indie scene. So you have to create something, whether it be a tech demo or some type of thing that gets people like excited for it to show to another company who's going to give you money that, like, yeah, people are interested and here's why, right? But because you do that, you then put yourself on this kind of like ticking time bomb of like, okay, people are excited, but for how long? Like, how long do we care, right? And so if you're going to go into this, you have to already have a plan to try and get something out by a certain time to meet those expectations, whether they're, you know, sound or not. It's just, that's the way this type of community works, is like, you need to get things out like that, because otherwise we're on to the next thing. Like, games come out too quickly, things happen too quickly, where it's just like, you can, I keep using the word quickly, but very quickly get thrown under the bus, where there's just so many different games that potentially could have the same hook that you do before you even get out the door. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I think the main thing is just don't be a douche.
It's a great way to end it. Thank you very much, Big Josh Boy. We have thoroughly covered our 2 news stories for this week, so it's time for us to hop in to News Cram. Oh, Big Josh Boy not giving the cram. Okay.
This time I didn't do it.
You know what? You threw me off. I knew that it was going to happen one day. I knew I was going to chill, and Big Josh Boy would fuck me. And it's like, not even in the good way, but whatever. We'll move on. News Cram is our weekly wrap-up segment where we, the hosts of Indie Pod and Indie Games Podcast, cram you full of all sorts of indie games news. We don't have any quick news stories or any new deals or quick steals currently. At the time of this recording, there are some sales on Steam, of course. Like I said, be sure, if there are titles that you're looking forward to, add them to your wish list. Not only does it help the developer themselves with their analytics, but also helps with you on noticing when games not only go live, but also get sales and updates and stuff. So be sure to add the games that you're looking forward to your Steam wish list. Easiest way to really get updated. They send you emails as well, which is kind of nice. I do appreciate that. And they're not like spammy emails. They aren't like, hey, this developer updated. Like, they don't do that. They're just like, this bitch on sale. And I'm like, thank you. That is nice of you. I may purchase Kingdom Come Deliverance again. Okay, let's see if I can do this.
Well, all right then. Why not? I mean, you're buying Skyrim again. You might as well buy that, you know?
I did not buy Skyrim again. I just spent $19 on an update.
All right. Well, you know what? That sounds like you bought it again to me.
Kind of, yeah. So our first 3 items in new stuff come with Nintendo Life, where it supported that. Citizen. Oh my God. These are like, there's a lot here. Okay. Citizens Unite. Earth X Space or Earth Cross Space. I don't really know. Whatever. Readout, Space Assault, Cyanide and Happiness, Freak Apocalypse, and Narita Boy are all getting physical releases through limited run games throughout the month of November. So it's like some of them are coming on November 10th, the 12th, and all sorts of stuff. So if any of those seem interesting to you, be sure to head over to limitedrungames.com. Check them out. probably have pre-orders live at some point in time soon. Narita Boy was probably the only one that actually like I was interested in. I think Cyanide and Happiness, like there's some funny comics, but I'm not interested in the Freakpocalypse game. So, but Narita Boy is pretty interesting. I didn't finish it because it's fucking weird, but it's interesting, and it gave me headaches. So there's that. That action adventure game Death's Gambit Afterlife by White Rabbit is getting a physical release on the Nintendo Switch sometime in Q1 of 2022. And that fishing RPG Fishing Paradiso by Odin Cat is headed to the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam sometime in January of 2022. Now over to Polygon, where it's reported that puzzle game Baba Is You by Hempuli Oi is about to receive a bunch of new content on November 17th. Of course, by the time the plebes are listening to this, it's fucking out. You can play it. Sadly, patrons, you gotta wait another day, but whatever, dude. Just, you know, it's whatever. You got this early. Be happy. Be happy. Whatever. Including a new level editor and 150 more puzzles to solve. Now over on Twinfinite, where it's reported that action-adventure game Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion by Snoozy Kazoo is about to get a physical vinyl soundtrack through IM8-bit, which will cost $32.99 and release sometime in 2022. That multiplayer co-op FPS game, Deep Rock Galactic, has just surpassed 3 million copies sold across Steam and Xbox platforms. Dang. And that party-based RPG, The Waylanders by Gato Studios, has just been delayed to February 2nd, 2022. Of course, it's in early access right now, but its full release has been delayed. And lastly, over on IGN, where it's reported that third-person action-adventure game The Gunk by Image and Form, like I said, coming to Xbox and PC December 16th, and that Among Us by Innersloth has just received a massive update which adds a cosmetic shop to the game, as well as 2 new roles and much more. So, Big Josh Boy, are these new additions to Baba Is You? You gonna hop back in? You gonna play? You got 150 new puzzles, bro.
It's a lot of new puzzles, and I love Baba Is You, but I don't know. As much as I just typed it up, I don't know that I'm gonna go, because here's the thing. Baba Is You is fucking tough. It is.
That's true.
It is a challenging puzzle game. And if, maybe if they're like 30 of those levels are like dumb to somewhat smart brain, then I'll play them. But if they're all big brain level, I don't know that I can do it. I don't know that it's for me. But I will say, I've played Baba Is You a couple months back. I don't know if I talked about it, but I played with my my brother-in-law who came over, and he didn't know anything about the game, and I just turned it on and we played a bunch of the levels like together through some of them. And honestly, it's a lot of fun playing it with another person, like as dumb as it sounds, because it is a single player game, but it's nice just going the back and forth since it is so highly just a logical puzzle game. So maybe I'll take a look at it. I'll try to get my brother-in-law over and I'll go through some of those levels with him. We'll see. Maybe. Right. I mean, it's free, right? You can't say no to free.
Yeah, why not? This one, it looks pretty sweet.
You want to
levels, level editor?
I know. You want to play with me? You want to get on? We're on Discord.
I'm pretty sure I have the game, but no, I don't. See, you said, here's the thing. You said like moderate to like sort of big brain. Here's the thing. I'm obviously far left on that one where it's like smooth brain. Bro, it was like Baba is rock, and I was like, you lost me. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, am I the fucking rock? Or are you the rock? Who's the rock, dude? I don't get it. Like Dwayne the Rock Johnson is in this game?
Yeah, he's there. He's Baba. Dwayne the Rock Johnson is Baba.
Oh my God, did we just find this crazy ass Easter egg? Fucking, we just unlocked it, dude. We got it. So, Big Josh Boy, we've been blessed with so many amazing indie game news stories today that it's time for us to get back to the creators in our next and this week's last segment. And God bless the crowd. This week, we are once again headed over to Kickstarter to talk about a game called Chains of Fury. Chains of Fury is a Metroidvania Boomer-Shooter inspired by Lobo and 13 with loads of blood, gore, Easter eggs, and Duke's dark humor. I'm assuming what they mean by Duke's is like Duke Nukem? Yeah. Duke Nukem. Okay. I was like, that's what I thought, but I was 100% sure. So At the time of this recording, the developers, which are, I believe, Gaming Factory. Yeah, they is a producer and publisher of PC. Maybe not. I don't know. You just get back to me on that one, Big Josh. Where you find them developers. You tell me who they are.
I think it's Gaming Factory from Poland.
Okay, there you go. Maybe it's Gaming Factory. Nobody knows at this point. It's nebulous. No way to know.
You know what? It's fine. It's fine. You don't need to know who makes it. Come on, games are magic. They
Who
just
needs
show
to know
up.
that, bro? It's just,
Bro, no one works
come
on
on,
video
bro. It's
games.
whatever.
What are you, dumb? They just
It's
show
by
up.
Cobble Games. Gaming Factory is a publisher. It's the developer is Cobble Games. All I had to do is fucking click on that Steam link. It's that easy.
Whew, that's too much work for me.
So
I can't do nothing. Clicking is too hard.
I'm sorry.
the time
Are you
of
trying
this
to recording?
Are you trying to say something?
Not even a little bit.
I'm just gonna keep rambling. It's fine. No. You
At
can
the
go.
time of this recording, I'm gonna murder you. At the time of this recording, they have $6,834 with 143 backers and 38 days left to go. Of course, their goal is 8,591, so they're very close. 38 days left to go. They had a big ass campaign here. That's a lengthy one, but also it kind of makes sense because to get in on the ground floor, all you got to give is $12 and you get a copy of the game on Steam when it's released. You get special Kickstarter demo, your name in the credits, and a special Discord role and backer wallpaper. So you do get a bunch of stuff for $12. So I think it does kind of justify the longer campaign where it's like, it's going to take us a little bit longer to get to that like higher amount. So Big Josh Boy, how do you feel about Chains of Fury?
I think this looks like a game I would play if it didn't make me sick.
Really? Why would it make you sick? You think like the motion sickness?
I would definitely get motion. These are the types of games that I used to love as a kid that now I try to play it and I just get sick to my stomach. And I hate it because it looks so cool. I love the art style to this. I think it looks so great. I'm a big fan of the old like Duke Nukem type games. It just looks so good where it's so stupid. Like, I don't know, just the animation to it and how ridiculous a lot of these characters are. And it's so exaggerated. It definitely fits into that theme. Like I'm watching the video right now where he kicks down a door and it just kills someone that's right there and then slowly still falls into another guy, but the same animation comes out and it's just like, oh, I'm also dead. It's like, what? But I mean, that's the like over the top. It's you're punching through walls. There's looks like a guy pissing on a toilet that's dead. There's
he's like pissing and he just comes at him while he's on the toilet. It's like, bro, there's got to be some etiquette in warfare. You don't come at a man while he's doing a business,
Yeah, well, not here. These are space rules, all right? There is no rules.
This is space prison rules. You do everything in space prison, bro.
It's true.
Ain't nothing holding you back in space prison.
That's what I hear. I've done a lot of research on space prison in my time, and I have the only thing that I can very much conclude.
I mean, you know what I realized is like there's no drop in the soap or soap on a rope in space prison. Like you let go of that soap, you're fucking done.
It's true. You just float away.
That's your lifeline on this fucking this space prison. You let go of that soap, you're fucking dead. Turns out you fucking taking showers outside. They're like, hey, the vacuum, good way to clean yourself.
Yeah,
he gets all the germs off because they can't breathe, bro.
It's true. Yeah, head goes boom boom. I think the game looks dope. I think it is over the top. I think I would love to be able to play this, but it would make me sick.
Okay.
Granted, I don't know about like when people say dark humor, I'm always like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that because there's like a fine line when you get to like certain types of humor where people are like, we're edgy, and it's like, does that mean you just say fucking shit a lot?
Probably,
kill
yeah.
people?
Have you ever played Duke Nukem? Like, come on, dude. Yeah, that's definitely what they're going for.
And so I'm like, now that I'm a bit older, I don't know how much I'm into that because it's been a long time since I played those games. But granted, I don't want to poo-poo nothing I haven't played yet. So maybe one day I will check this out. I'm not gonna back it just because, like I said, I'll get sick. But I still think it looks cool, and I'm sure there's people who are listening to this podcast that would probably want to check this one out. So I would say take a look.
Yeah, I honestly I don't think it's like really a game for me. I've never really been into this type of first person
No?
shooter.
Did you have a
No.
childhood?
Yeah. I mean I played RuneScape. That's what I did.
My God,
I
this
played
fucking
RuneScape, played
nerd.
with myself, and played with my Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
This
Like that was it. That's my childhood right there.
such
So
a
whatever.
nerd.
Yeah, I've never really been into this type of gameplay,
Mm.
obviously, but I think the game looks really interesting. I really love the art style. I can definitely see where those inspirations of like the Hellboy and Lobo comics come from. I totally can see that. And
Yeah.
there seems to be like a resurgence of this type of game where we've seen like Project Warlock and others where people are all trying to go back to this like the heyday of the original Doom and really get into that type of first person shooter. And that's really interesting. It's just never been my deal. But I hope that, I mean, this is something that I definitely think is like in a lot of people's wheelhouse. People like
for
these
sure.
games.
For sure. And I mean, it's pretty cheap. Like $12 is definitely on the lower side for Kickstarters. Like you think of a Kickstarter and generally to get the actual game, it's no less than a 15 purchase, which granted that's only like $3, but still it is on the lower tier where you sometimes see these Kickstarter games that are like full-fledged game prices. And this is just like, oh, $12, get something that's like maybe one of your favorite games when you were a kid, you know? Plus the comic style graphics. I said it before, but like, damn, I love them. I love games that look like this. There was a recent one that I played, Void something. I can't remember.
Void Bastards? They do bring it up in this. Yeah, they're like Void Bastards games is actually one of their inspirations.
Yeah, Void Bastards was good too. But it was another one that kind of made me sick playing. And I was like, fuck, I'm so sad that it does because it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it looks really good. We talked about this before we recorded. There's a harpoon gun, which, come on.
Yeah, before we recorded, you're like, there's a harpoon gun. You're like, it's actually called a hook. And I was like, why are you being a bitch today?
Look, man, all right, because all I'm saying is, why put a harpoon gun in the game and then call it something like hook?
Especially because the other guns have like, I would say relatively interesting or like very edgy names for the most part. Like granted, it's like shotgun, but then you've got chain gun, flamethrower, crossbow. Okay, yeah, I'm just listening.
They're pretty normal.
Saw gun. Okay, the saw gun is a little bit different.
Yeah, the saw gun, and then there's the electric gun.
I'll just kill myself with the electric gun, dude. That one's fucking stupid. Yeah, hook. It's not even hook gun. They could have gone with harpoon gun, really just kept it going, because every other one outside of like the flamethrower and crossbow says gun in it, but they're like, hook. Isa hook. You shoot the hook. Fuck you, dude. So yeah, the game looks cool. It's not for me, but $12 goes a long way for this campaign. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Once again, this is Chains of Fury over on Steam. They currently have 38 days left to go. So it's like, hey, bruh, you thinking right now you want this game? You pop it on there. You don't get charged for 38 days. That's cool.
There you go.
Hopefully in 38 days, you have $12 in your bank account and you for some reason don't get overdrafted, but
yeah,
whatever, bro.
That's the
it seems like you might have more problems.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? I can't wait.
It seems like you might have more problems in your life if you had exactly or less than $12 in your bank account. You know,
I can't imagine. I would shit myself.
I used to do the like paycheck to paycheck thing.
Oh my God, I can't do
I'd
that.
get it like real close. I can't do it anymore either. I've always have like a decent buffer in my bank account. And when I get close to that, even though I know I have money, I'm like, that buffer is there. Anytime I get close to it, I get like serious anxiety. And I just stop spending money. Like literally I could need like a life-changing surgery. And I'd be like,
you're like, I gotta keep
have
the
money for it.
I can't. Vaughn, your heart's gonna explode. Like, well, we'll have to wait until next month.
Yeah, I gotta wait for my next paycheck. They're like, what? So that is the end of this week's episode. Thanks everyone so much for listening. If you would like to chat with us outside of the show, you can do so in a bunch of different ways. Specifically, Twitter is the easiest way to do so. Follow us at IndiePod over on Twitter. I said specifically,
I don't know why you made it seem like it was the literal only way they could. You're like, there's a ton of ways. Twitter. That's it.
Well, it was mostly like, honestly, I got through all of that, and before I said Twitter, I was like, what was I talking about? Because I have not, like, I went to lunch today, but I'm hungry and feeling weird. So it's like, you know,
a little loopy. These are the Monday episodes we're getting into.
Yeah, eat me damn. We're going back to them good Wednesday times where I'm just like, I'm tired and I fucking haven't eaten.
It's Fries Day.
Oh my God, there's gonna be so many more flubs now. It's just gonna make me
love
want to
it.
die.
I love it. I can't wait, dude. Mondays, we're bringing it back.
Fucking Mondays. This will be fun. But be sure to follow us at IndiePod over on Twitter. Super easy to find, obviously. That's why we got that on the sweatshirts and stuff. You can follow us there for notifications when our episodes go live. You can write in your questions and, of course, talk about indie games. You can follow me at Hyde Legion. Honestly, I'm so out of it right now that I was about to say you could find me, and then I was going to be like at _George90.
Are you ghosting me?
What is happening? You can find me at Hyde Legion over on Twitter. That's HYDELEGION. For, I don't know, just a bunch of dumb shit. I'm continuing to make that Isekai guy content. I'm currently reading through a bunch of Solo Leveling, the webcomic or manhwa, so I can compare it to the light novel. But it's taken a while. These are like weirdly large chapters for having such little substance.
You say manhwa? Is that what they call it? Online manga? Manhwa?
No, it is not a Japanese story. It's from Korea. That's why. It's like manhwa, or I believe webcomics they're referred that way because they are from Korea. That's why. Specifically South Korea, I'm assuming. I don't know how much North Korea
stuff we get.
Yeah.
So
Kim Jong-un is up there just making hentai.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But
North Korea academia.
Exactly. You can follow Josh at _George90 over on Twitter. You can check out his Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the_George. But that is it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. We've got a couple of housekeeping bits that I got to go over once again. Check out the Kid Onion Studio developer interview. They're talking about their game River Tales Stronger Together. That one goes live on Wednesday, the 17th of November. Be sure to check that out. Head over to the Indie Pod store. Check out our new t-shirt or our new sweatshirts. We got t-shirts, we got stickers. While you're on your web browser, go over to YouTube, subscribe, like the videos and such. Leave us reviews on any site in which you could do so, specifically iTunes. Helps us out a bunch. And lastly, thank you so much to all of our $3 patrons and higher. If you give us any amount of money or any amount of your time, we love you and we appreciate it. But made that blood pact, I gotta fucking say it. You know, it's just fucking, you know. I was going to do the like this thing, but I don't know what that means. So it's like, I'm just going to move on. Ethan, a gamer for fun. John, it's just John. It's just John. I love that. Like, it seems like you're going to be way easier to wear down on these Monday episodes. We'll see. Zach Durham, Chase Hopkins, Philip Brunch, the one bedroom of Australia. That's a little bit more there. A little bit of a, a pubic squeak or whatever. Pubescent squeak.
Pubic squeak.
I'm fucking hungry. Juno and Sam Fillion from Canada. Thank you all so much. You're all so amazing. And we will talk to you all next week. Maybe I'll just off myself in the meantime. Whatever. I'm done. Bye.
Man. A pubic squeak. What a good one. What a